From haunted houses to cursed artifacts, from whispers in the dark to battles you'll never read in scripture. This is the Unholy podcast, hosted by Doug Owen, author, investigator, and survivor of one of the most harrowing real-life hauntings ever documented. Each week, Doug pulls back the veil between this world and the next, sharing stories that aren't fiction, because he lived them. Prepare yourself. The silence is over.
Welcome to the Unholy Podcast. I'm your host and author, paranormal investigator Doug Owen. Tonight we're not discussing just a ghost story. We're not discussing folklore. And we're not discussing a legend whispered around a campfire. Tonight, we're discussing an object that actually exists. Continuing on with our series about forbidden tomes, books, and manuscripts. We're discussing an object you can see, an object you can touch, an object that has been tested, dated, and dissected. And this has been scrutinized by some of the greatest minds in human history. And yet, no one knows what it says. This is the story of the Voynich Manuscript. Now, this is a book written in a language that does not exist, filled with images that do not belong in our world, and surrounded by a history that grows more unsettling the closer you look. The Voynich manuscript is handwritten codex made of vellum, animal skin, consisting of roughly 240 pages, and scholars believe that at least 28 pages are missing. It is written entirely in an unknown script, now referred to as Voynich. There is no known translation, no bilingual reference, no linguistic ancestors to connect it to. Just the script and the images. Strange plants that match no known species. Astronomical diagrams that resemble star charts, but align with nothing humanity has ever mapped. And, perhaps the most disturbing, naked female figures bathing in green liquid, connected by tubes, chambers, and a flowing system that resembles neither plumbing nor anatomy. In 2009, radiocarbon dating conducted by the University of Arizona dated the parchment to between 1404 and 1483. The ink matches the period, the binding matches the period, so the materials are authentic, as far as we know. This is not a modern forgery, but there's the detail that stops historians cold. There are no corrections, no crossed out words, no margin notes, no hesitation mark. Whoever wrote this did not struggle. They were fluent. The manuscript's first confirmed owner was the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II. Historians describe Rudolph using two words side by side: brilliant and unstable. Rudolph ruled in the late 16th century, and his court in Prague became a gathering place for astrologers, alchemists, mystics, and men who claimed to traffic in forbidden knowledge. Among them, John Dee and Edward Kelly, men who claimed they could speak to angels using a language not meant for humans. According to the letters, written by Johannes Marcus Marci, Rudolph purchased the Voynich manuscript for 600 gold ducats, an astronomical sum for the time. He believed it to be the work of Roger Bacon, a philosopher rumored to possess knowledge far ahead of his time. Rudolph's reign ended in paranoia, isolation, mental collapse. Historians debate whether the manuscript caused this. They do not dismiss the coincidence. After Rudolph's death, the manuscript, of course, vanished. It resurfaced decades later in the hands of George Berish, a Prague alchemist. Berish admitted in letters that the book disturbed him, that it occupied his thoughts, that it refused to yield its secrets. Desperate, he wrote to Athanasius Kircher, a Jesuit polymath in Rome. Berish described the manuscript as something that had haunted his library for years. Now, after Berish died, the manuscript passed to Johannes Marcus Marci. Before sending it to Kircher, Marci included a letter, and we just happen to know what it said. The letter, it reads, quote, "I have no idea what it contains, only that its mystery surpasses human understanding," end quote. Kircher never deciphered it. Then, the manuscript disappeared again for nearly 2 centuries. In 1912, rare book dealer Winfried Voynich found the manuscript in a Jesuit archive in Italy. From that moment, he was consumed. Voynich claimed scholars who studied it too long became irritable, withdrawn, and emotionally exhausted. Some refused to continue. Some refused to speak of it again. Voynich himself spent the rest of his life trying to unlock its meaning. He died without answers, without completing his work, frustrated and unfulfilled. Now, during World War II, the manuscript attracted the attention of William F. Friedman, the man who broke Japan's purple cipher. If anyone could read it, anyone thought it would be him. Friedman assembled a team of elite cryptographers. They failed. But what they discovered was worse. Voynichese behaves exactly like a real language. It has syntax, structure, statistical consistency. It is not random. So it is a language. And yet, it matches no known language, living or dead. Friedman eventually concluded that this is a cipher. Then the system behind it has never been recorded in human history. Now, let's talk about the illustrations in the manuscript. Botanists have tried for centuries to identify the plants in the manuscript. They can't. Roots from one species, leaves from another, flowers from nothing known to Earth. The so-called biological section depicts women bathing in green fluid, connected by tubes. Not interacting, just observed. Their expressions are wrong. The faces look detached, as if the figures are not participants, but specimens. Perhaps unwilling specimens, perhaps drugged, perhaps brainwashed. Several researchers reported recurring nightmares, others insomnia and anxiety. In the 1970s, a Yale librarian reportedly requested reassignment after prolonged exposure to the manuscript. No explanation was recorded. Is this really proof of anything? Well, no, of course not. People ask for transfers all the time. Personal problems, financial difficulties, change of scenery. But it is not nothing. Being around the manuscript seems to have a sort of effect. What effect that has on people has been documented. But The Voynich manuscript does not scream out, it doesn't threaten, and it doesn't explain. It simply exists, waiting to be unlocked and unfolded, to be understood. This manuscript is possibly never meant for our world. Is it alien in nature? Well, certainly. I describe the word alien, mean otherworldly. Certainly foreign to anybody on this planet. Centuries have passed and no one has been able to even come close to deciphering it. People who enjoy puzzles, linguistics, theologians, scholars, the very brightest minds that this world has had to offer, and does offer, cannot seem to figure this manuscript out. Its strange rhythmic text being a language, even artificial intelligence has taken a crack at this. They've tried to put the manuscript cynics in context into the AI computers that we have nowadays, the artificial intelligence, and they found nothing. They can't seem to figure it out. Several researchers, including linguistic Leo Litivol and historian Jacques Guy, reported recurring nightmares while studying the manuscript. Others described an overwhelming sense of dread when focusing on the pages. Is it a hoax? Is it a warning? Some scholars insist that this manuscript is an elaborate hoax. But consider this. Why create a hoax so sophisticated that it survives 6 centuries, defeats cryptography, linguistics, artificial intelligence, and shows 0 internal inconsistencies? Why leave no explanation? Why write a book no one could ever read? Unless it was never meant for us. Perhaps it's a medical text from a lost tradition. Perhaps it is alchemy, knowledge encoded to survive persecution. Perhaps it's the work of a mind unlike our own. Or perhaps it's something far worse, a message sent forward in time, to no one in particular. The Voynich manuscript today sits in a controlled archive, protected, preserved, and still unread and understood. It has outlived empires, outlasted languages, survived wars, fires, and centuries of human progress, and still it keeps its secrets. I think we're going to wrap it up here for this edition of the Unholy podcast. And if you want to learn more about the Voynich manuscripts and other forbidden tomes, tune in to the Unholy podcast every week. And again, as always, I'm your host, Doug Owen. And remember, take care of yourself, be aware, beware, and the most important thing, remember that sometimes the silence is the most terrifying thing.
You've just heard another chilling chapter of the Unholy podcast, hosted by Doug Owen, author, investigator, and witness to the things most fear to name. For more real stories, cursed objects, and exclusive content, step deeper into the dark at authorDougOwen.com. Subscribe, share, and remember, some silences aren't empty, they're waiting.